Today, I want to talk about what games I've played this month, as well as games that I've beaten this month. And I'm going to start off with an NES game that took me about 21 years to beat. I first played it in 2003, but wasn't able to beat it until this very year. And that game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a game that's notorious for being so wrongfully difficult. As soon as I reached the Technodrome stage, I saved Donatello for when he had to become my last resort. After Leo, Mike, and Raph ended up low on their health bars, I had to rely on Donatello since he's the strongest of all four turtles. And I actually managed to reach the Shredder. And the first time I reached him, I managed to beat him with ease. He turned out not to be that difficult, and when I finally managed to beat him, I was so satisfied that after so many years, I actually managed to beat this game. And speaking of Ninja Turtles, I've also played the Turtles in Time arcade on the Cowabunga Collection game, as well as the first Ninja Turtles arcade, both of which I managed to beat using no less than 50 credits and with Leonardo. Interestingly enough, when I was playing the first Ninja Turtles arcade, I had only 4 credits left when I managed to beat the Shredder. I thought for sure that that was going to be it for me, but when I finally beat the Shredder, with my last 4 credits, I was satisfied. I also played the 3 Nickelodeon Kart Racers games, which I showed off a couple of days ago. The first game isn't all that great, but the second and third game are much better. I also played DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing, All-Star Kart Racing, which, although is very similar to Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, it's not really as good because of the steering control, but this game is definitely not far behind. Another game that I've played this month, which for weeks I had been meaning to beat, which I just beat a couple of nights ago, is Monsters Incorporated, which turns out to be half good, half terrible. And by that I mean that the first half of the game is fun, but then the second half is a nightmare. But I was able to beat the game nonetheless. And it's definitely a game that I actually would have enjoyed as a kid back in the Game Boy Color era, or Game Boy Advance era, when Game Boy Color was now nearing its end, along with N64. And speaking of the Nintendo 64, I actually have played a lot of Harvest Moon 64. I'm currently playing a file in which my character's name is Mario, and so far, I'm still on the first year, but I'm going through the winter of the first year in Harvest Moon 64, and I'm married to Ellie. I've also been playing a lot of Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo, and I've yet to marry, I believe her name is Maria, the character who goes to the church. But right now, I have to get the other girl's affection rates raised. But anyhow, here's another game that I've played this month, Donkey Kong Country Returns. I haven't been able to beat this game yet, but I've made some progress on this game, and I'm doing my best to find every single puzzle piece in every stage of the game that that I have played so far. I've also played Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which I'm also looking for every puzzle piece of every stage in. I've also played quite a few online matches on this game until the servers died out. May the servers now rest in peace on the Wii U. Although thanks to Pretendo, we can bring the Nintendo Network servers on our Wii U's back from the dead. Another game that I played a lot of this month was Breath of Fire 2 for the Super Nintendo. After beating the game on my Wii U, I went to play the game again on my Switch and managed to beat it. And unlike the Wii U version, or rather, the Wii U port of the Super Nintendo version, I managed to get to the end of the game on the Switch in just a few weeks. But anyway, those are all the games that I've been playing this month. And I forgot to mention that I did play a bit of Guacamelee, which is an excellent Metroidvania game. If you haven't played it, you should. Guacamelee is a classic. But anyway, those are the games that I've played and beaten this month. What games have you played and beaten this month? I'd really like to know. Please let me know in the comments below.